The Grand Plaza Hotel looked just as I remembered it, 40 stories of gleaming luxury. The stage for every major Harrison family celebration across 3 generations. Tonight was no exception, my father's 60th birthday, an extravagant affair meant to showcase the family's enduring power. I adjusted my simple black dress, not a designer label, but graceful enough. 3 years had passed since I'd left the family business, refusing to sell my small boutique hotel to Harrison Hotels. 3 years of being branded the family failure, the disappointment they whispered about at cocktail parties. "Good evening, miss," the doorman greeted me politely, clearly not recognizing me. Why would he? The last time I'd stepped into this lobby, I was Isabella Harrison, the heir apparent. Now, I was just Bella, the black sheep with her own path. Inside, the ballroom glittered with Chicago's elite. Crystal chandeliers threw light across diamond necklaces and gold cufflinks. My cousin Marcus spotted me first, nearly spitting out his champagne. "Well, look who decided to show up," he drawled. "The prodigal daughter returns." I ignored him, scanning the crowd. My mother stood near the windows, probably gushing about her next charity luncheon. My brother James stood by my father at the stage, both in matching tuxedos, the poster boys of Harrison Hotel's future. "Isabella," my mother's voice sliced through the noise, "I didn't expect to see you here." "It's Dad's birthday," I replied evenly. She eyed my dress with a disapproving flick. "Yes, well, let's not create a scene. Your father is in high spirits, we've just finalized that European chain acquisition." I smiled faintly, thinking of the paperwork locked in my office downtown. If only they knew. "Congratulations," I said softly. "Bella," my sister Catherine breezed in, air-kissing my cheek. Her diamonds likely cost more than my hotel's annual revenue. "Still playing innkeeper with that little place of yours?" she mocked. "Something like that," I replied, taking a champagne flute from a passing waiter. "Ladies and gentlemen," my father's voice boomed from the stage, silencing the chatter. He stood tall, every inch the triumphant hotel magnate. James beamed beside him, my mother glowing in the front row. 60 years, Dad began, and Harrison Hotels has never been stronger. Tonight isn't just my birthday, it's a celebration of our greatest acquisition yet. Applause rang out. I stayed near the back, slowly sipping my drink. "But first," his voice sharpened, "there is a family matter to settle." The room stilled, heads turned, and I felt the weight of every gaze. 3 years ago, someone chose to abandon our family legacy, to chase a smaller dream instead of sharing in our vision of excellence. His eyes locked onto mine. "Tonight, I want to make it official. Harrison Hotels has no place for those who refuse our path. Therefore, Isabella is hereby removed from the Harrison Trust and all family business interests. We do not associate with failures." A stunned silence fell, Catherine's smirk widened, James looked down, and my mother simply nodded, as if this was inevitable. Then, my phone buzzed. I glanced at the screen, and smiled. Global acquisition complete. Aurora Hotels now owns 51% of Harrison Hotels' European properties. I looked up at my father, still standing proudly on stage, completely oblivious to the fact that while he was so busy disowning me, I had just become his biggest rival. Mr. Phillips, the hotel manager, rushed past me toward the stage, his face pale, clutching a tablet. Halfway there, he stopped abruptly, his eyes widening in recognition. "Ms. Harrison," he blurted, loud enough for half the room to hear, "I didn't realize, your expansion with Aurora Hotels is remarkable. The portfolio is extraordinary." The champagne glass slipped from my mother's fingers, shattering on the marble floor. Timing, it turns out, really is everything. The hush that followed was almost sweet. Dad froze mid-sentence, his confident grin crumbling. James frantically checked his phone, scrolling through breaking news alerts. Catherine's flawless composure finally cracked. She turned to her husband, who was already studying me with a new kind of curiosity. "Aurora Hotels," Mom stammered. "That's the group buying luxury properties all over Europe. 36 properties in the last 2 years, I confirmed, sipping my champagne calmly, "including the boutique hotel you all called my little failure, the one that started it all." Mr. Phillips lingered awkwardly with the tablet, glancing between me and my father. "Sir, I tried to warn you about the European acquisition." Dad stepped down from the stage, his voice rising. "What about our European acquisition?" "It's been superseded," I said evenly. "Aurora Hotels now holds a controlling interest in that legacy chain, and with it, control over the Harrison properties involved in your merger. The room erupted in scandalized whispers. Chicago's high society thrived on gossip, and tonight I had handed them a feast. Impossible, James snapped, stepping forward. We spent months negotiating that deal. It was confidential. I smiled, remembering all the ignored calls, the missed dinners. They thought I was sulking. In reality, I was building an empire. Your mistake was assuming I was playing small, I said, setting down my glass. You never bothered to ask what else I was doing. Dad's face turned a furious shade of red. How dare you? This is my birthday party, and you used it to disown me, I reminded him. Seems only fair that I share some news of my own. Catherine pushed forward, eyes wild. But where did you get the money? We cut off your trust fund years ago. You really thought my boutique hotel wasn't making money? I let out a soft laugh. It was profitable from day one. I reinvested every dollar, bought one property after another, built a new brand. While you mocked my small dreams, I was quietly outgrowing you. A board member called out from across the room. Mr. Harrison, your phone. It's the European investors. Dad fumbled for his phone, hands trembling. This isn't over, Isabella. Actually, I said, it is. Aurora Hotels now controls enough of your European assets to hold significant sway over Harrison Hotel's operations. That trust fund you just revoked? It's worth less than my quarterly dividends. The crowd parted as Thomas Chin, my CFO, entered in a sharp, perfectly tailored suit. He looked ready for battle. Miss Harrison, he greeted me, ignoring the shocked stares. The final documents are prepared. Would you like to sign them in your father's office upstairs? Dad's eyes widened in horror. My office? You can't. Actually, she can, Thomas replied smoothly. As controlling owner of this hotel, Miss Harrison has full access to all facilities. Mom collapsed into a nearby chair, her polished facade finally crumbling. Owner? But this hotel has been in our family for 3 generations, and now, I finished gently, it belongs to Aurora Hotels. Don't worry, we'll keep the Harrison name. After all, I added, meeting Dad's furious gaze, it's part of my heritage too. The next few hours blurred into a whirlwind of lawyers, documents, and family members struggling to comprehend how their failure had outplayed them all. I sat in Dad's, now my, office, signing papers as the party dissolved into chaos below. The European board is waiting for your conference call, Thomas said, placing the final file before me with calm efficiency. Also, your brother James is outside. He looked agitated. Let him in, I said, slipping off my simple black dress to reveal a sharply tailored power suit underneath. No more playing the prodigal daughter. James burst in, hair disheveled for the first time in his life. How long have you been planning this? Since the day Dad laughed at my business plan, I replied, signing another document without looking up. Remember? He said a boutique hotel focused on personalized experiences could never compete with the big chains. But that's not what you built, James said slowly, realization dawning. Aurora Hotels is massive. Exactly, I said. I took the boutique concept and scaled it globally. Each property feels personal, yet operates at a luxury scale. Harrison Hotels never figured that out. Dad's furious, James sighed, sinking into a chair. He's talking about taking this to court. He'll lose, Thomas interjected firmly. We spent 3 years ensuring every acquisition was legally airtight. A knock at the door. Mom entered, looking years older. Isabella, she began, voice thin. Your father wants to speak with you. Board meeting in 10, I reminded Thomas. He nodded and left, carrying the last set of documents. Send him in. My father walked in as if he were attending a funeral rather than his birthday celebration. The arrogance that had defined him for decades was gone. How much? He demanded. Excuse me, how much to buy it back? I leaned back in his, my chair. You still don't understand, I said calmly. This isn't about money, it's about vision. Harrison Hotels clung to tradition for too long. You stopped innovating and assumed legacy would save you. And you think you know better? He scoffed, but the venom was gone. Our occupancy rates are 40% higher. Our guest satisfaction scores are record-breaking. Our profits, well, that's how I bought your European properties. He slumped into a chair, suddenly looking every bit his age. What do you want? I want what I always wanted, to create something meaningful, I replied. Aurora Hotels isn't just luxury, it's about creating memories and stories. That failure of a boutique hotel, it became our blueprint. And now you'll dismantle everything we built, he asked hoarsely. No, I said softly, I'll make it better, starting with this hotel. I stood and walked to the window, the Chicago skyline sparkling below. You taught me one important lesson, Dad, exactly what not to do as a leader. The intercom buzzed. Miss Harrison, the board is ready. He stood, defeated. So this is it, revenge. This isn't revenge, I corrected, it's evolution. You weren't willing to change, so I did it, for all of us. I turned to face him fully. You disowned me tonight, in front of everyone, but unlike you, I don't let pride dictate business. You and James can keep your positions, if you're willing to learn. Under your leadership, he muttered bitterly. Under better leadership, I said firmly. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a board meeting to lead. As he left, I heard the whispers in the hall, saw the staff adjusting to their new reality. By morning, everyone would know, Harrison Hotels hadn't just changed hands, it had been reborn. A month later, I stood in the lobby of my first boutique hotel, the failure that started it all. Even surrounded by billions in assets, this place still felt like home. Miss Harrison, a young staff member approached, nervously twisting her hands. Your father and brother are here for the meeting. I smiled, remembering another young employee years ago. Send them to the rooftop garden. They stepped onto the rooftop hesitantly, taking in the space that used to be a storage room. Now it was lush, intimate, elegant, a living embodiment of my vision. Nice view, James said quietly. It's where I planned everything, I told them, every acquisition, every strategy, right here, where you once told me I'd fail. Dad looked around, truly seeing it for the first time. Teach me, he said, voice low and genuine. And there, above that tiny boutique hotel, 3 generations of Harrison hoteliers finally began to build something together, something better. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't proving others wrong, it's proving yourself so thoroughly right that they have no choice but to learn from you. And sometimes, a family business has to fall apart before it can truly thrive.